You ready? I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a full house. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Burt. Trustee Favdahl.
Present.
Trustee King.
Present.
Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Clerk Triplett here. Trustee Campbell. Here. And Treasurer Clee.
Present.
Thank you.
So I know we have some deletions on the agenda. I don't think we have any additions. Go ahead.
That's A.
A?
No.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, A, under new business.
A under
A
new
under new
business
business.
is delete, and we're going to delete E. We'll bring it back at the next meeting.
Right.
So we move on to, yes, A and E.
Thank you.
We move on to the minutes from the last meeting, November 20th. Are there any corrections to the minutes of the meeting? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No one's opposed, it's unanimous. We'll move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you'd come to the podium and give us your name, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
Gene Leverett, Sr. Thank God for being here today. I thought it would be appropriate for us to bow our heads for prayer. We did the Pledge of Allegiance, and it was called for our hats to be removed, so I'm taking my hat off more so for the prayer. So I'm going to bow my head right now. Lord, we come thanking you right now for this time, Lord God. Look upon each and every one in the room, Lord. Touch our minds and speak to our hearts, Lord God, that we might do your will, Lord God. Help us right now to keep our minds stayed on you, Lord God. And, Lord, we can be blessed, Lord God, in all our endeavors. Lord God, we know that we have the community and the trustee board and all here today, Lord God. Touch them right now, Lord God, that they make the right decisions, Lord God. And the scriptures say, when it comes to business, let men be men. When it comes to business, that include the women as well. So, Lord, help us right now to be able to continue in the name of Jesus. Thank God. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I'll put my cap back on today, so it won't be looking like bad hair day, right? But we certainly thank God to have everyone here today. Looking at all of the things that we need to do, I just thought I'd make a quick observation about the Christmas decoration. And we've had this Christmas decoration going on for about, I don't know how many years, about 3 or 4 years. And Tracy, I'd like to ask you a question. How much are we paying for these here Christmas decorations every year?
We can talk about that at the DDA and the CIA meetings, but we can't just have question and answer right now.
Okay. All right. Well, to my understanding, that we paying a lot of money for Christmas decoration, and I always thought that Christmas decoration looked really, really well and decorative with some lights. And I don't think I've seen a light as of yet. That all these years that we done had these Christmas decorations up, and to my last understanding and hearing, we was paying about $12,000 to have these here Christmas lights or decorations put up here, and I haven't seen a light yet. So I think that we need to do something about that. And as well, I'm going to talk about it again, about the community curb appeal, especially in the business sector. We need to make sure that we stay connected with the businesses and stay connected with the community. I see that Bay City last year was having a real good program that they put together. They were paying the people to pick up the trash in their city. And I think that we need to do something, because I would like to really see us move forward to having a community contest probably the best looking properties or best looking houses or whatever, or even the businesses, the best looking businesses. We need to do something to create this curb appeal because it don't look good for us to be here doing all that we're trying to do and not have to be able to, our community curb appeal to be able to stand out, to be able to attract our community people or residents. But thank God for space.
Thank you, Mr. Leverett.
All right.
Hi, I'm Donna Fry, and I live on Fernwood Drive, across from the Party House, which I'm sure you're well aware of. Most of the people in this room are neighbors, and they came here because we're really upset, traumatized in some way by what went on last Saturday night, Sunday morning. I called the police at about 1:45 when there were gunshots going off. I heard, I don't know what the first one was. It was a big boom, boom, boom. Then there was a different type of gunshot that went off later, and a third type that went off later. So there were 3 rounds of shooting. There was mass chaos. I have some videotape from my house camera that I can give. We want action. We're scared. My daughter doesn't want to visit my house anymore. She's afraid because her bedroom's in the front of the house. She's afraid of getting shot by a bullet. I lived directly across. I saw all this. I saw the people who were at the party leave. They peeled out of there as fast as they could. They sped. You could hear their screeching tires all the way out on Dye Road as they were exiting the neighborhood. We're scared. We need safety. We want safety for our families. We need something done now. And we took our colleague sitting over here to court last winter with your help, and somehow he didn't get the message. This needs to be taken care of now. This is affecting our lives. I talked to my neighbors the next morning who didn't sleep all night, who are simply afraid to live in our community. It's a nice community. We all love living there. But we can't live in fear all the time. We need it taken care of. I was also shocked that there were a bunch of teens leaving the house. I watched. I didn't turn my lights on because I was afraid. But I watched out my front window as the night unrolled with the police there and everything, and I saw a whole bunch of teens leave. What are we doing when there are teens invited to a party like that? It's unsavory. It's not the first party. They've been going on. There's another party earlier in the fall. I have some videotape of that as well, where they were parked all over the yard. They drove over my neighbor's yard, hit his mailbox. I have that on videotape to turn over tonight. On Sunday afternoon, after the party this week, there were 2 vehicles that came back. They got out of, the people got out of their vehicles, were looking around the yard, probably trying to find things they dropped as they were running and leaving. And I have a picture of those vehicles as well. So we're here to do what you need, but we need this taken care of for our safety. So.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cindy Christopher, and I live on Fernwood Drive, and I was the house that the bullet came through. So a bullet was shot, and it came through my bedroom wall, ricocheted off another wall, and just right after that, my granddaughter come walking through my house. So I've lived there for 12 years, never been scared. I have grandkids that live with me and soon-to-be great-grandchildren, so like the previous homeowner said, it's been a wonderful neighborhood to live in. And I've raised grandkids in that neighborhood. But I have also had pictures, the police did come to my house to see that the bullet had actually come through my bedroom wall. So I'm with everybody else here that, we're pleading for help for this to end, because we have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren that are coming. So I just wanted to express my concern also, since I'm the one that the bullet came through in my room. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Marie Haywood, and I own and operate a child care center in the community at 4215 West Pasadena Avenue. I've been there for over 5 years, and I'm also a homeowner here in Flint Township. And the reason that I'm here tonight to speak to the board is that when I took over the building went into foreclosure. I was not aware of it until the water department came to turn off the water, and I have children that I was servicing that reside in the community. And I went out and spoke to the gentleman that came to turn the water off. He told me, okay, I will hold off, but you need to contact the township. So therefore, I did contact the township, and then I met with Miss Karen Miller, and I explained to her the situation, and we went over what was going on. Come to find out, when the building went into foreclosure, the state took it over. A company by the name of O'Keefe was supposed to be paying the bills that we were paying our rent to. There was other tenants in the building beside myself, but they were not paying any rent. They were not taking care of the building, the property, whatsoever. Therefore, my husband and I, because I have a center there and I like for my parents to come to a clean, beautiful building, beautiful place, we took care of all the bills, from consumers to the water bill, the upkeep of the trash, the grass, name it, we took care of it. When Land Bank finally came into the picture, thanks to Miss Karen Miller, who made the contact with them, because when I would call them, they would never answer my calls. So when we sat down and met with the Land Bank and they came out and see the property, they never once said, let me take care of anything. I showed them all the bills that I've accrued, everything that I paid, anything that was repaired. When the water department came out, they told me that the reason the water bill was also high is because we had toilet running, probably toilets that were in the building since the building was built. Therefore, I went and changed all those toilets, which is over 8 toilets, to help with the water bill. I continue to make payment, as I promised to Miss Karen Miller that I would pay the water bill on a continuous basis. And I did pay more than what the water bill was every month, just to make sure that, my children would come and be able to use the restroom, have washing hands, and I can cook and everything to take care of them. In the midst of that, I don't want to badmouth anybody, but the Land Bank screwed my husband and I over, and again, decided to sell the building to someone else instead of selling it to myself. Although I went and sat with the Treasury of Flint and talked about everything that was going on, they did not care. They said that they would sell it to me, and then they turned around and backed out on their word and sold it to somebody else. But the God that I serve, the child of God that I am, I had the favor with the company that purchased it from them, and from there I have a contract with them to pay it. Recently, I did come to the Flint Township and paid $13,000 worth of taxes. So I do take care of my business. I do take care of my bills. I've been in operation and business for myself for the past going on 14 years. So therefore, I do my best to make sure I stay upon licensing with the state of Michigan, as well as anything that I have to do. As I stated, after speaking to Miss Karen and the other gentleman, the other tenants were not paying anything. We asked for them to help. Of course, they didn't. But if it wasn't for myself and my husband, they wouldn't have been able to service their people that they did either, which were churches in there. I won't bad talk that either, because that's another whole subject. So therefore, I'm here today because although the balance when I first started paying the water bill was over $13,000 or $12,000, I believe. I paid it all the way down, I believe, to 10 or 9. I don't have the printout sheet that I got from the township. But everyone that work in the water department knows about me and knows about the story. So as I would come in and I would pay, and I say, hey, what is the water bill, and make the payment, Miss Karen and I had a couple of meetings, and she's aware of what's been going on. and some of the amount of the money was taken off the water bill so that I'm able to do it. But I'm here today to ask, can you guys please, in my favor, to take away the remaining balance that I don't believe I should be responsible for, which is about $1,500 or $1,300 left on the bill. So that is why I'm here today, and I would like to let you all know I'm doing my best to keep the upkeep of the building and take care of my business, and I just need some help in getting that waived.
So, the explanation is accurate. The previous owner went into foreclosure. The county treasurer took possession. They allowed the tenants, you and 2 or 3 others,
Yes.
to stay in the building. They used utilities, and you basically were the only one paying, correct?
Yes.
So, as our ordinance states, we certify went into foreclosure, and that was between $8,000 and $9,000.
Yes.
I don't know the exact
I
amount.
know those act.
But over that year and a half, has it been 2 full years?
It's been about 2 full years.
Full
Yes.
years. The amount that was owed by the other people, and there's only one meter, there's no way to know how much they paid, but she knows based on what she paid before, that her payments, and she made them faithfully. And our ordinance talks about, she wants a waiver of that leftover portion from the foreclosure. The board can vote on that. So that's why she's here. So we can take that up when we get into new business, but thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Would anyone else like to address the board?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead. Hello, my name is Randall Chancellor. I live right next door to the notorious party house here. I live at 5476 Fernwood Drive. I retired from General Motors management a little over a year ago and decided that after living 3 stints in Grand Blanc, I really liked this neighborhood. It reminded me of old neighborhoods and the Parkway neighborhoods that I used to be accustomed to back in my hometown of Minneapolis. And being retired, it also, and having older grandkids now like you do, and that broke my heart, what happened to her. My 2 grandsons were over that night, and I'm going to try to keep my calm here. But getting off track here, I decided to move over to Flint Township. I like the area. I like the cost associated compared to Grand Blanc. I love the neighborhood. The people that I've met have been fantastic. And I have no personal animosity towards the gentleman that owns the house over there. But obviously, he doesn't have his stuff together. Bottom line is. And I did talk to him at length today. It was rather terse at times, I must admit, but we ended on a good note, I think, like this. But the bottom line is he's full of crap. I've been in sales 35 years. I'm extremely good at that. You can ask anybody that General Motors that knows field sales, and they'll tell you that. I had to convince my wife to move over here against her best wishes because of this type of concern, and here I am dealing with it. I've never called the police once in 59 years, and I told them this. That's one of the things that makes me upset. Haven't done it one time. Now I've called twice on this house. That is clear when you drive down the street, sticks out like a sore thumb. Now, there is capabilities to use legal action against a singular home that is causing the issues that are causing to this neighborhood, including the devaluation and everything else of the home, and it should be maybe looked at in a class action matter. I've suggested to him the alternative would be to sell the house. As a sales guy to sales guy, sell the house. Sell it to a family that can utilize it. It has a pool. They will fix it up some, and we can be done with this. But it's nonsense. And I'm out there, and I happen to smoke still. I live my garage looks at their house, the side of their house, right there. And I keep my grandsons come over every weekend, and they're going to continue to do that. I will not be cowed into anything with regards to my own property in my house. And action needs to be taken, and if it doesn't, then we need to go a different route, and maybe we need some different people in this town. But I've talked to the police before, I went down there before on this, I've mentioned the activity. Listen, I'm not a Puritan, I never was. People that know me back in the day, I've enjoyed myself, especially, and I know what kids act like. You know, I have a memory, but this is ridiculous. Here, they're causing serious damage. Does somebody have to be killed before the police do it? I told them before, drive by at 1 o'clock in the morning. Just send a squad by. When they hit my mailbox, of which he has it on it, and they wrecked his mailbox at the same time, and it was people at a party at that house that was going on. Drive by at 1:30 in the morning, and you'll see 2 cars parked like this, like that was there, with lights on, and tell me, what do people do? I don't know what they do, but I remember what I did when I was back in high school in my late 70s days, when you pull up to somebody's house, go running in, and have somebody else in the car driving, and then come out 5 minutes later, multiple times, over and over and over again. What's going on there then? I don't know, because I'm not in the house. But I got a pretty good, clear indication. Whether it's that person or other people involved, that's what's going on. So, Pete, please, step up. I know you guys got a difficult job. It's very tough. I know that. And you're not treated the best by all. And I've had some dealings with a few of the Flint Township police so far, and they've been great. They've been some of the best I've ever had. So I appreciate your, and just want to leave it on that. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Yes?
5476.
You need to come to the podium, sir? Thank you.
Hi, how you doing? I don't necessarily live in Flint Township, but I just wanted to apologize to all the people who live in, the neighborhood in Fernwood.
Did you give us your name?
Name and address.
Ron Thornton. I live in Davidson. They keep.
Are you the owner of Fernwood House, the party house?
I manage the house.
You manage?
Yeah, it's not a party house. I don't know why it keeps being.
So you own the house that's being discussed tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So
Manages it.
Manager owner. We didn't get that.
Yeah, manages.
He said
manages the
manage.
property. So,
Need an address.
so.
No, we don't need it.
So I wanted to apologize to everybody about what happened over the weekend. It was something that I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. All I can do is apologize for it. Action has been taken for it. The tenants that were there are being removed, and they won't be there anymore. Like I say, I don't know exactly what happened. But I just wanted to apologize. The gentleman is insinuating that someone is selling drugs or whatnot, and I can assure you that that's not the case. Everyone that's African American don't have to sell drugs. I'm a legit businessman. I know you guys don't know me. I'm just telling you.
We need to stop that. One person speaking, please.
It's a gentleman that lives, he doesn't live on Fernwood, but he lives on Briarwood, and he harasses the tenant constantly. He's called the police over 30 times, because I've called the police, and because they're telling me that, that this gentleman calls the police. The police has been to the home several times. They've never written a ticket. They've never anything. They've never done anything, because every time they come, it hasn't been an issue. But they said they have to come out whenever someone is called, and it's almost like they're. It's just like I said, the gentleman is insinuating that some drugs is being sold. That's all hearsay. The whole party house situation, that's hearsay. If one person has more company than another person, that doesn't make it a party house. I'm not trying to make any excuse or anything, because I'm not there. I'm not in the neighborhood, so I don't know what exactly what's going on. But I have been in contact with the police, and basically they tell me they have to come out every time someone calls. They say, well, they have to park on one side of the street, so they're not in any violation when they park on the street. They can't be on the street after 2. They're trying to be in compliance. I've talked with the tenant. I've told them, hey, when you have company over, you have to park in the driveway. Try not to even park on the street. And they've tried to do that. That's why the gentleman said that he's seen cars parked on the yard, because if they have company, they don't want cars parked on the street. And so, I've been in the neighborhood before. I've seen other people park on the street and things of that nature, and I don't understand why it's an issue when I'm talking about if it's one car parked on the street. This one gentleman, he stays on Briarcliff. He's called the police. Like I said, he calls about 30 times a month. It's harassment. They have him on camera going, messing with cars and looking at license plates, and I've called the police and say, hey, what can you do about this? They told me to get a restraining order against him. But I don't live there. And the tenant is they're not there anymore. But if another tenant moves in and they happen to be African American, I would hate for them to think that this is what they're gonna do, and basically pick with them because they have a little more company than the next. Because if the house was such an issue, seemed like the police would have gave out some citations, some tickets, made some arrests. None of that has happened.
But we've been in court before and we've padlocked that house. There has been issues. And I think the reason people are upset is because I lived in Western Hills before. Having shots in your neighborhood come
Yes.
through your wall, I think that's a legitimate reason to be upset.
And that's what this right here is extreme. And that's why I said the tenant who is currently there is being removed. And
When you say
Your
tenant,
son.
you said you're the manager, sir?
yes, ma'am,
Do you own the house?
I manage the property.
You manage it, so it's a rental.
You said you owned it today.
He can't, he's got it, that conversation, they gotta stop. Pound the gavel. They can't.
I asked him a question. Are you the
I
owner?
manage the property.
You rent it out?
I manage the property. I don't rent it out. See, it's not, the house is not an Airbnb. If you look on Airbnb website.
I didn't say Airbnb. We're trying to ascertain, you're coming to us, you're saying you manage the house. These people
Yes.
are saying you own the house. We're just trying to get that
and
bottom line answer.
I'm telling you, I manage the property. That's
Who owns
what-
it?
You said
Who owns the house, please?
who owns the house?
Yes.
R&T Enterprises.
Say it again?
R&T Enterprises.
Thank you very much. And I think your time is up. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name is Gerald Roberts. Live in Flint Township. Came up here and talked about this item before. I've asked the board to do something about it. I've put Freedom of Information Act information out to get information. The trustees on this particular board, there's 4 of them, are considered contract employees. When they're elected to that particular position, there's 22 meetings a year. We as taxpayers expect that those particular people that are elected to those positions know that there's 22 meetings a year and that they should be attending those meetings. I brought up the fact and the request on numerous occasions in the past that if you're not in attendance for those meetings, and each one of those trustees gets paid about $20 or $7,200 a year. They're on a contract, in other words, considered contract employees. So that's used as an excuse that if they miss a meeting, they're not docked for it. I've asked this board to make amendments, in other words, so that if they're not there at that point in time, that they get docked, they don't get paid. If you don't work a day's wage, you don't get paid for a day's wage. I made the assumption that if they went into a grocery store or a bank and robbed it, they said no, they didn't. But yet, when they miss those meetings, they're actually robbing the people because we're paying them to do a job. Now, Sheriff Piquel, previous sheriff that was here, was put on the pan with regard to getting double wages with regard to retirement. It was called to his attention, and he had a lawyer, and they settled out of court or whatever for a certain amount of money, not the total amount of money. I wrote a letter to him saying, Mr. Piquel, do the right thing. Pay that money back. If you didn't earn it, and they say that you owe it, pay it back. That's what I'm requesting. These particular trustees, if they miss a meeting, do the right thing. In that letter that I wrote to Mr. Piquel, I said, Mr. Piquel, do the right thing. Pay the money back to the taxpayers. You're not entitled to that money. I'm saying the same thing to the trustees. If you miss a meeting, one of those 22 meetings that's scheduled in a year, do the right thing. If you're a contract employee or a salaried employee, take the money, take your checkbook when you get paid that check on a monthly basis and write the check back out to Flint Township so that we can use that money. That is not stealing, that is doing your duty right and doing the right thing. Paying the people back for non-conformance or not doing your job. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Kevin Stiff, G 4020 Corona Road, the dive shop, and I'm also a resident in the township. Been in the township for 38 years. So, last meeting, you had a budget on the table, took that budget home, and I looked at it. In fact, I've spread it out on my table, my dining room table, and I looked at that budget for about 4 hours. Did all of you? Did each and every one of you take that budget home and look at it? I hope you did. What'd you think of it? I'm not supposed to ask questions, am I? So anyways, and I hope some of you out here in the audience, I hope some of you took that budget home and I hope you looked at it. You know what kind of financial troubles we're in? We're broke. You know what? We're in the same position that the federal government's in and the state government's in. And I got my taxes today. My taxes are up again. And they were, when I got them this summer, my taxes were up again. We can't keep asking for more taxes. A lot of you are retired and we're on fixed incomes. And we can't keep asking for more and more taxes. Our services are dwindling. You know, the fire department right now has got 13 people. They have back-to-back fires, and they have to bring people in, off-duty officers in, to fight fires. The volunteers are not showing up. I know that for a fact. I just had that conversation the other day. These guys are, our chief and our assistant chief is fighting fires instead of doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. They're out fighting fires. So who's doing the administration work? Are you guys doing their job? You're not. So what are we going to do? I looked at the budget for this coming year. They ain't got any money in that budget. How in the world are they going to put more people on? When we have fires, when your house is on fire, they're going to fight fires with a less firemen than what they had last year or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. They got less people. How in the world are they going to do it? They're not going to do it. You know, and the only thing I can think of is they're going to have to raise taxes. You raise taxes on our houses, that don't get us any more money. I don't know how we're going to do it. The only thing I can think of is we take a special assessment or something. I'm game for that. I don't know about you guys. I don't even know if you've discussed it, but we got to do something. But I know not raising taxes, because every time you raise taxes, I go down to the assessment department, they raise our taxes, we get pennies. We get nothing. You got doctors' offices and you got people up here on Linden Road that pay nothing. But they take our services from us. And those hospitals, when the CEO and them make $20, $30 million for the CEO, we get nothing out of that deal. But you tax me, you tax all these people out here, they get nothing. Special assessment, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you guys discussed that or not, but somebody better do something pretty soon. Or you know what? Somebody's gonna come along and offer him a doggone good salary, and he's gonna be gone.
Thank you, Mr. Stiff. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Tom Gibbons, Flint Township. Am I allowed to play a chicken video? Just the noise for like 10 seconds?
You want to?
Okay. It may not work.
We're gonna listen to chickens.
I'm not that good at this stuff.
You need to hold it up to the microphone so we can hear it.
Yeah, my sound might not be up either. Whoops. Like I say, I'm not that good at this.
Tech person out there now.
He's got it.
Oh, what's running?
This is a hen, one hen after laying eggs. Now, there's no controversy on what the noise level is in the readings. It's 70 decibels for a hen. It's 90 for a rooster. This is my third time to come up and talk about chickens. I don't understand why the township is entertaining. That's what I'll talk about here. I just want to talk about a few things. One thing I read was a lady, she says, to get zero noise is 200 feet. She didn't have chickens yet. And one guy says he lives on 15 acres. He lives in Texas. And he can hear his hens all over his property. I'm just going to talk about some miscellaneous stuff, and then I'll talk about in Grand Rapids, they have in their ordinance they require people to give their neighbors addresses, and then they mail the mailings to the and they have 21 days to if the neighbor does not want you to have chickens, you don't get chickens. One thing I ran across, the state of Michigan, in Act 466 of 1988, it says livestock, it includes poultry. So that's one thing, we have a nice ordinance. It's over 10 acres, no livestock. Why change it? University of Minnesota, they talk about common concerns for backyard poultry include disease, noise, odor, pests, and waste management. In the CDC website, I've looked at that. It's like over 1,000 people in all 50 states related to chickens, and it's half of that is children under 5 years old is susceptible to the salmonella. And then in Flint, they don't allow chickens. Since 1968, it says no poultry or fowl shall be kept on any zoned lot within the city. I have one from Dallas, Texas. It says about the same thing. So why are we here? I heard one of the board members say that they did a little survey, and it said some people want chickens and some people don't. Well, hey, in my grad school at Central Michigan, and one of the board members had the same degree, talks about sampling surveys is either a convenience survey or a random. What I just talked about is a convenience. If a few people call the board and want chickens, that's a convenience. It's not a random survey of the entire township. So I know that's what you do in all cases, but in this case, it just seems like it needs to be looked at.
Thank
That
you.
my timer?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
It's not mine.
Anybody else?
My name is Kevin Mike. I live on Briarcliff. I also have concerns regarding the pre-mentioned home on Fernwood.
Can you give us the spelling of your last name,
Yeah,
please?
MEI NKA.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have 3 kids. We live 2 doors down from the home. Prior to this past weekend, this has been a nuisance. Noise issues, parking issues, trash in the yard, trash around the neighborhood, excess traffic when events happen. On Saturday, this became a danger. This became a threat to my family, to my neighbors, and we'd like to see action on that. There may be some misrepresentation. I live just down from the home. Can't see it all the time. Speaking with the neighbors, I think the picture that this is a continuously occupied residence may be inaccurate. I would encourage that we look into that further. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Anybody else? One last time. Last call for public comment. So we'll close public comment and we will move on to board reports. So I just wanted to mention a few things. You have the chance, after the leaves have fallen, part of keeping the roads dry from water is that they go into the catch basins. If you have leaves that have accumulated on the catch basin in front of your home, I'm asking if you'd take the time to go and clean up the leaves or debris or whatever it is by the catch basins so that the water can drain into it so you don't have flooding issues. That's one thing. The last day for yard waste pickup was last Thursday. There's no more yard waste pickup, so anybody who has a question, we have calendars that are on our website. There's calendars here. We'll be getting new calendars for next year. The pickup's always on Thursday. They ask that you have your trash out to the curb by 7 a.m. Also, we don't want to see trash set out to the curb 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days early. It's not supposed to be out there on the weekend. I know it's convenient, but then everybody has to look at your trash. So they ask that you don't put, and we are asking, it's not an ordinance yet, but we might make one, that the trash go out the night before and out by your curb by 7 a.m. So yard waste will resume again, the pickup in April, the first Thursday in April, and it ends the last Thursday in November. And for those of you who didn't know that, you are allowed, by paying for garbage pickup, you can take 1,000 pounds out to the landfill. It's Brent Run Landfill once a month. You have to come to the township and get a pass because they need to prove that you're paying for the trash service. But you have that ability to dump 1,000 pounds free every month. You just need to bring your license here to show that you're a resident here, and then take the pass out to the Brent Run Landfill. I know it was mentioned earlier about our chicken ordinance. We do have a good ordinance that says no livestock on less than 10 acres, but we've been challenged in court when we've taken people to court with tickets for having chickens. And there's a debate whether or not chickens fall under the definition of livestock. So we are trying, there's no survey done. We did not conduct a survey of any type. Just like anything, some people like things and some people don't. Many people don't like chickens, and some people do. And whatever this board wants to do, if we're going to vote on that ordinance, it's before you for a second reading. But if we want to vote that down, we can do that too, and we can talk about it when we get to it. But I just want to make sure we did not conduct an ordinance, or a survey to see who wanted to do what. I just know there are a lot of people who own chickens. I heard that there's somebody who owns chickens in Western Hills. I was driving down Linden Road. I saw a rooster just north of Calkins and Linden Road. There's people who live down the street from me who have chickens. They're everywhere. So that's why we need to address it, because we're being overrun by chickens. But anyhow, and some roosters. So I think that's it for my report. I know, I think all of our road projects are completed now. I know that there's still some traffic barrels on Ramsgate and River Valley, but other than that, all of our 2023 road projects are completed, and Western Hills, Flagstone SAD, There's there's two things that need to be done with that road project. It was done in 3 phases. 2 of the 3 phases are done. The last phase, phase 3, needs to have the road mill and paved. They'll do it in the springtime and then restoration. So that's my report this evening. Madam Clerk, do you have a report this evening?
No, I do not.
Mr. Treasurer, do you have a report this evening?
I do, thank you. Trustees, please, if you have not already reviewed, I'm sure you all have, received copies of the invoices that we're going to send disbursements out. We have invoices in the amount of $360,940.16. By the board's purchasing policy, this meets the criteria. In addition, we also have tax distribution in the amount of $658.79 for a total of $361,598.95. This includes $148,670.56 for the 2023 bond payment for the PD building, leaving just, thank goodness, one last payment for 2024, and that PD building will be paid for. So my motion is that we accept what I just read, and I can rate it again if you'd like, that we pay the bills as presented.
That's your motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any discussion? So I'm glad you brought up the fact that the police department, we have the building authority authorized to pay the payment this year with the interest.
Right.
And next year, 2024, will be the last year we owe a payment. I think it's $156,000 on our police station. And I just want to tell the board that several years ago, Barb, you and I served on that board. Carol might have. I think, Tom, you were here too. It was before 2020. We refinanced a loan. We paid off the bond. We shortened the term by 7 years, and we saved $500,000 on the interest. So it'll be very good to see that building paid off, clear and free. So we have yes, you had something else?
We have, go ahead, motion in a second. I will.
Any further discussion on the motion?
Yes, I have, when you finish up, I have something else I would like to be brought back to the board, to the table, too. So thank you.
Alrighty, so Madam Clerk, roll call please on the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $360,940.16.
Trustee Fabdahl?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Lee?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, no.
You wanted to continue, Treasurer?
I can be brought back if I would after all
Sure.
the other reports.
We'll
Thank
move
you.
on to trustee reports.
Thank you.
Do we have any reports this end?
I don't, but I do have a comment about that house. I was one of the people that was there in court when that house was told to be padlocked. And there was some issues with, they were gonna let it be used for something else. Nobody lives in that house. Nobody lives in that house. But I don't know why it's not padlocked again. I thought that was a judge's order,
For 30 days it was.
and that's it.
So, I know, I've talked to Attorney Gildner, and it's our intention to have another meeting. I spoke with Lieutenant Wangler today, and you're gonna give a report, but that report went over to Attorney Gildner, and I know that Attorney Gildner and Mrs. Donna has been in touch with our attorney to, whatever information that is that the neighbors want to forward, you can send the information to me if you have information about any disturbances in the neighborhood that might help in doing the right thing as far as how we handle the situation at the house on Fernwood. So my business card is on the counter out there. My cell phone number and my email is there. If you need to speak with me, you need to speak to any of us, you can call that number. I can put you in touch with any of the trustees. If you need to get me some information that I can get to the attorney, let me know, and we'll get it there, and we'll see if we can address this situation as quickly as possible.
May I follow up if Barbara's finished? You done on the house? Because I'm gonna follow up on the house. All right. Yesterday, I had 3 phone calls, if I may, to the board. I had 3 phone calls yesterday, and one yesterday evening. Today I had two people come up and stop me. One saw me driving and stopped me and at a light and said, "I want to talk to you." I said, "Call me," and that conversation alluded immediately to the house. And as I was coming back out here, my phone rang, and it was another resident in the neighborhood that you guys are in, that I have several acquaintances and friends and former students in there. Those of you that know, you know where I'm at during the day. Extremely concerned about what's going on over there. So it's not going to. I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. There's a lot of people in this room know how I run my mouth. I'm sorry, I ain't going to let it stop. That was a poor use of English, but I got work to do on this one. Thank you, Barb, for letting me speak.
Deb, did you have anything?
No.
Alrighty. So, we move on to staff reports. Ms. Tucker, do you have a report for us this evening?
We did have our Welcome Santa Claus along with the tree lighting at Genesee Valley Center last week. I wanted to thank Discover Flint Township, the Economic Development Authorities, and Shea for getting the trees set up at the mall. We also have the menorah lighting is this Wednesday at 5 p.m. at Shea. We have our Small Business Saturdays going on right now. They did remotes at Comic Relief, Donna's Donuts, and Latinas last weekend. They'll be at Gaines Complete Runner in Genesee Valley Center this weekend, and then the next 2 Saturdays they'll be at other small business locations. We did have the building authority meeting. It was passed to pay not only this year's bill, but next year's for the final payout, so that did happen. We have Zoning Board of Appeals meeting tomorrow night, and then we have Planning Commission next week. We have Bristol Road CIA tomorrow at 1:30. We have Beecher Road CIA at 8 a.m. on Thursday. We have Flint Township DDA meeting at 9 a.m. on Thursday, and then we have the public information meetings, which is just that annual report that I'll be holding next Tuesday one at 10 a.m. and then one at 5 p.m. because we have to do 2 of them. So we picked 2 different times for some people can't do early in the day, or some people would rather do early in the day. So we did a morning and then an afternoon. So we'll be having those going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Wayne? Yes?
ZBA is Wednesday night, right?
This Wednesday, yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought you said Tuesday. I'm sorry. She
No.
said Tuesday. I thought you said Tuesday. It's Wednesday night. I'll be there, 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Board. Since the last board meeting, November 20th, 2023, the police department has responded to over 1,300 calls for service. Chief Salter likes to, that's roughly 95 calls per day average. In addition to these, your officers conducted 106 business checks, 65 residence checks, and conducted over 160 traffic stops. I will highlight the call that has been spoken about by the public comment. Yesterday morning at approximately 2 a.m., your officers were dispatched to the 5400 block of Fernwood for a report of shots fired. When the officers arrived, they were met with appeared to be intoxicated and highly resistant individuals that were inside of this particular home. They began canvassing the area, and they collected approximately 70 fired shell casings, which were a mix of 3 different caliber rounds. We did receive some video from the neighbors. We are continuing to investigate this complaint. Detective Beckwith is the lead investigator, and if there are any residents or tips in this, there is nobody in custody, and we're still continuing to investigate this.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department has responded to 50 incidents. And this 50 includes 10 structure fire calls, 2 vehicle fires, and 1 entrapment within the last 2 weeks. On the 20th, we responded to the 2500 block of Lavelle Road for a reported house on fire. The initial reports were that 3 to 4 people could possibly still be inside of this home. Upon arrival of the fire department, there was fire coming out of almost every window in this house. Luckily, no one was in the home, and we were assisted on this incident by Mount Morris Township. While we were on this incident, we were called to another possible structure fire in the 4100 block of Corona Road. Luckily, that was just a minor incident that no additional resources were needed at. On 11/24 and 11/30, we responded to reported structure fire calls with smoke and flame showing from two different buildings. Luckily, both of those incidents were not structural fires, and they were actually garbage trucks that the contents of the garbage had actually caught on fire in the truck, so they dumped them out in the parking lot to prevent the truck from catching on fire as well. So luckily, both of those incidents were kept small, but the potential was there. One of them was a church that is a fairly large building in our community, so of course we were a little, wanted to make sure that that wasn't the case. So on 11/26 last Sunday, we responded to Walmart on Corona Road for a reported structure fire as well. We were receiving multiple calls that there was a bathroom on fire at the rear of the store. Fire crews arrived on scene along with the police to find the store was evacuating, and there was a large amount of smoke in a restroom in the back of that store. Luckily, it was a small fire contained to that bathroom that was quickly extinguished, mostly by extinguishers prior to our arrival, but fire crews did have to complete that, along with help ventilate that building to make sure the smoke and all of that stuff was out. Upon investigation, along with the police department and fire department, the cause and the person responsible for that fire were both identified, and one person was arrested that day. So a huge thank you to our police department for working alongside us out there for several hours after that incident. A person was in custody that day. So great job to everybody there. On the 28th, we assisted Flushing Fire Department on a house fire in their community. Our crews were assigned to cover their area while all of their resources and fire trucks and personnel were all tied up. At the conclusion of that, myself and Assistant Chief Rowley assisted on scene with the investigation into what started that fire. We were out there for, I think, a total of about 4 or 5 hours that morning. On the 30th, we responded to 7 calls total throughout that day, which included 2 reported structure fires and entrapment, broken sprinkler head at McLaren Hospitality House, and a couple of injury accidents. The fire reported in the morning was in the 3400 block of Brookgate. That fire was contained in the living room, but there was a lot of smoke damage to that entire home. We did have Bristol Road shut down along with the police department for several hours that evening as well due to a telephone pole that was hit in a vehicle accident. On the 2nd, last Sunday, I believe it was, we responded to the area of Mackin and Lavelle for reports of smoke and flames coming from a building. Luckily, that building was not actually in Flint Township and was found to be Northern High School just inside the city. They did request us to assist them as well, so our ladder and one of our engines assisted them on scene for almost 2 hours while they contained that fire. They had a fire pretty deep inside the school that required a lot of work to get in there. So just a little bit of an update on where we are year to date. We've ran a total of 1,265 calls for service now, which is already over 100 over where we were last year. According to the records we have, this is our busiest year on record as a department. So our call volume continues to increase. The number of actual fires in our community this year is up significantly over our average. Usually we average about 150 total fires in a year. This includes vehicles, houses, buildings, whatever that is. Last year's total was 152. This year we are at 241 right now with almost an entire month left. So it has been an extremely busy year. And as I say all the time, we are always looking for on-call firefighters, always looking for help. Those numbers are definitely dwindling, not only in our community, but statewide, nationwide. So if anyone out there is interested in becoming a firefighter, we pay you, we pay for the academy, we pay for all of the equipment. We are desperately in need of help in our fire department. So if anyone is interested, please come see us. Give us a call. On our website, there's all kinds of information as well. But we are always looking. And we have one action item on the agenda.
So it was mentioned tonight, the volunteer firefighters. We have full-time firefighters, but we also have paid on-call.
That's correct.
So when you're asking for help, you're specifically asking for paid on-call help?
At this point, yes. All of our budgeted full-time positions are full. At one point, our community had about 60 on-call firefighters. Today, we have 10. So our call volume continues to increase with the number of personnel available continues to decrease. So it's kind of putting us in a really rough spot right now. So yes, right now we are looking for on-call firefighters. You know, as I said, we do provide all of the training, all of the gear, all of the equipment. You're paid for it. Any hours that you're here, you are paid for. We are just in desperate need of help.
When we send someone to academy, we pay for it?
That's correct.
We pay while they're at training?
Yes.
And
Yep.
they earn while they work for us?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, John Whiteside said there's no road advisory committee report. I just wanted to mention on the road advisory, we have 9 people who work on that road advisory committee, and they make decisions to make a recommendation to the board on how to spend the .5 mils. That brings in roughly just shy of $500,000. It's been in place since '06, and I think, I was just trying to add it up here, I think we've spent close, I don't know the exact number, $12 to $15 million on road improvements. And that includes what the township would pay when somebody does a special assessment. Right now, Western Hills, I said it again, sorry, Flagstone is in the process of a special assessment. Over the last, since '21, so 21 and 22, we did 10 commercial road assessments. So it's highly effective. If you're interested, we meet on the second Mondays of every month at 3 p.m. It's open to the public and it's held here. So come join us. Let's see, we've already done the bills.
Yeah, I was gonna say, may I?
Oh, sure.
All right, I jumped the gun, yeah, I jumped on to 8, but if this, then I'll have the piece back here. Just so everybody's know, Fire Chief Beckley stated the obvious. Fire Marshal Nestor's sitting here. I'm our fire commissioner. I am adamantly pushing for a way to create revenue in this community that will assist our public safety departments. And there will be several conversations being held. I'm, if you will, taking the bull by the horns. I'm going to be leading off that. I explained it to the chief, the assistant chief, the fire marshal, these two on my left, that I'm going to take the heat for it. I'll take the responsibility to try to get meetings set up, to organize meetings, to discuss the responsibility of us, of them, and of you guys. We're all in this piece together. And I cannot have a dialogue with anyone in the room, and I will not have a dialogue with anyone in the room, as that's not the right thing to do right now. But I have ideas. We all have been putting together a lot of work behind the scenes and quietly trying to come up with a way to increase or to add revenue to the public safety grouping as a whole. And when I say that, I'm talking about our.
He's giving a report.
I didn't know this was on the agenda.
I asked to come back to my discussion
Sure.
when I should have spoken earlier on. I
It's okay.
apologize. That this is going to be required of all of us and all of you to be in meetings. We will publicly notify you. I'm looking to have conversation. I have been blessed with some tremendous support that are wearing the blue and the white, and the blue jacket and the white there, and all the pieces underneath. These folks are all supporting. I know you guys will listen to it. I know you guys will get behind the whole package. Whatever shots want to be taken, don't direct them at any of the chiefs. Don't direct them at lieutenants. Don't direct them at anybody on this table, but direct them at me. As Ms. Miller stated, my phone number's out there, my cell number, my email. I answer. And I can't have conversations with anybody, but I will tell you there's a gentleman in this room who spoke at that podium that probably by the time I get home tonight at 8:30, I'll have a message on my home phone and my cell phone from him telling me to call him, and he might, look at him look around. He knows who he is. I'm not afraid to answer the call, and I'm not afraid to pick up the staff and see what we can do to make this. We have come to the meetings, folks. We got some work to do. Thank you.
Please come to the meeting. We do have one question then. So how are we doing on investments?
Thank you. Okay. I took that one set away and put it away at 5.5. I've met.
One set of what?
Oh, I'm sorry. We had 5 CDs that rolled over from another account. I think I mentioned, talked that about ahead of time. Took those numbers and rolled it over. Had met with Dort Federal and TBS about taking some monies that we have that are in our sewer and water fund that are sitting there earning 000s, and we're moving it to two fund related cells. Dort Federal, by the way, if you have it, Dort Federal will pay you 5.75 right now at a minimum $50,000 minimum, but you have to leave it there only for 11 months and you'll earn 5.75. So by the credit union support and the FDIC, our money's only back to $250,000. So the max into Dort Federal will be $250,000 at 5.75. That's going in this week. Then, through TBS, we have an opportunity to generate 5.3 to 5.8, and Kevin McIntyre's not seated here this evening. The system we've set up with them is, hypothetically, we set $1.5 million aside out of the sewer and water fund, which is earning virtually nothing now, in there at 5.3 to 5.7, 5.5, 5.7. I'm arguing with them. It is a liquid account that we're able to, he can call at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and have $125,000 released back to our account by 8 o'clock the next morning to operate if necessary to pay a bill, etc. And within the 30 days that occurred, that we replace that 125, we lose no interest. So I'm working on both of those pieces as well. Thank you, Ms. Vert, for bringing that up. I failed to lead on that. My fault. I apologize.
Done by December 31st.
Oh, heck yeah, it's gonna be done before the 15th, because the interest, or the investment is so critical right now.
So,
Forward to the report.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
we have no correspondence or informational items. And, we're gonna move on to a public hearing for community development block grant funds. We're required by the county to have a public hearing. We receive community development block grant funds. The federal government, through income surveys, determines where we can spend those dollars. They're allowed to be spent in moderate and low-income areas determined by the federal government. And the county, the Genesee County Metropolitan Planning Commission, has oversight in where those dollars are spent. And we want your public input, but I'll let you know that we spend money at the senior center in the food pantry. That's spent about $15,000 every year of the 3-year program. Public safety, we have $5,000 that goes toward crime prevention. And I want to specifically ask that we spend $5,000 for each of the service years, I think, for crime prevention for the police department, and $5,000 for fire safety for each of those years in the fire department. We get money for road projects that can only be used in the low to moderate income areas. We use it on blight elimination, and it helps pay for the code enforcers in those areas to do blight elimination. So those are the categories and areas in which we're looking to spend these dollars. I'm just going to mention it so that it can go in the minutes for the community development block grant funds. I want to say that we would use it on any one of the roads that are in low to moderate income. That way we're not locked into any particular road in case we miss one, but we'll look at all the roads in the low to moderate income areas for road projects next year. Anyhow, we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to speak, you can come to the podium, give us your name, we'll need your address, and you'll have 4 minutes to state what you want to state during the public hearing, but it can only be on block grant fund dollars. So the podium's open at 7:09 for the public hearing. And anyone's welcome to speak.
I just want to ask one question. Gene Leverett, 5210 Senior View Drive, Flint Township. I don't know if I was present when it was said or whatever, but I think we need to know the amount that's available on the CBG.
They'll tell us.
Oh, they're gonna tell us? Okay.
So this is just the public hearing, Gene. We submit an application, then it will come back here for a vote. So when we go to vote on it, that's when we'll know the amounts that were available for each of those categories. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board during the public hearing for the community development block grant funds? One last time? No, we'll call the public hearing to a close. I already mentioned the categories. It's 7:10. Yeah, that was a whole minute. So we'll move on to action items. And I wanted to bring up what was already brought before us, was Marie Haywood. She's seeking relief for the past due on our water bill, and the board can grant that or deny it if they so choose. It's just over $1,000. I know, but the only way that someone can have it waived is they have to come before the board and we make a decision. And this is a very specific case, and she has been through the ringer on this from the get-go with foreclosure to getting guidance on purchasing that through, it was at the treasurer's office, it went to the land bank, and then she basically got it taken from out underneath her, and so there's a water bill that's still due, which she tried to get the people, the tenants, because she was paying the bill. She was trying to get people to pay. They complained. They stopped paying, and she knew she had to pay in order to keep the water on.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive it for.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any further discussion?
Do you know the amount?
Do you know the exact amount? Is it about $1,200?
Mr. Tom and I went through it, I think it
It's
was
like
about 12 or 50 or something
12 and some
like that.
change.
Yes.
So less than 1,300.
Okay.
Less than 13.
Is there any other?
What's the address there?
5512 Pasadena?
4215.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
It's okay.
It's a sewer and water bill, right?
Yes.
Or two,
So we've got a move in a second.
4215?
Yes, 4215.
We have a first and a
West
second, so
Pasadena.
we have discussion. Can we, Tracy, while you're looking, we have a movement and a second. Would it be feasible to state that we would take a vote, and based on what that vote is, and allow us to stick the corrected amount in tomorrow morning in the AM based on, you have it?
well, is it the remaining balance?
Yes, she's
So
paid,
you
she's
could just
paid
say
up,
the remaining
The remaining
balance.
balance.
which is causing, there's an issue of,
You could have a
it needs
not
to be
to
paid.
exceed amount.
To exceed
if you-
1,300?
Yeah.
Okay,
If you wanted.
so
Any further discussion on the motion to waive the less than $1,300?
So I'll
amend.
amend the motion that we're going to make it,
Waive it?
waive that cost, but when we find out for sure what it is in the morning,
Thank you.
in less than $1,300. Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of waiving the past due amount at the property, on the sewer and water bill at the property, is it 4415 Pasadena? Did I get it right this time? Help me out.
4215.
4215.
4215.
Okay. So we got the property, we've got less than $1,300. And, what? Barb seconded it.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That's settled. Action item B. I'm going to refer or defer to you.
Thank you.
Chief Beckley.
Your fire department's continuing to try to meet its needs for now and in the future, and we'd like to fill a couple more leadership positions within our departments. Replacing these positions has been a process over these last few years. Our fire captains conduct inspections. They act as house officers. They oversee department activities such as like a training, maintenance, and any other things that need to be done. They also serve as middle-level command officers. In the absence of a chief or anyone else, they're there to make those decisions. They also offer extensive leadership on emergency incidents. Each of our fire stations has a house officer that's in charge of the overall management of those stations. They do the safety checks and ensure all items in that station are taken care of. We've had an interim lieutenant at our Fire Station 2 for almost 1 year while the testing has been completed for this position, so we have been paying an interim lieutenant to meet the contract. The testing is now complete, and we'd like to move forward with full promotions. So as we continue to move forward, we need these good leaders in our department to help us get there. Therefore, I'd like to request the Township Board take action to promote 2 sergeants to the rank of captain. And we will make the adjustments necessary in the budget as we move forward into 2024. Therefore, I'd like to request that the Township Board of Trustees authorize the supervisor to request from the Flint Township Civil Service Commission the name of 2 candidates for promotion to captain.
Does someone want to make a motion based on the recommendation?
We would move to accept the motion presented by the chief this evening, the motion to approve the request for 2 eligible candidates for the promotion, for the request of the names from the Civil Service Commission for promotion to captain. Have to come from
Trustee King was the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Action item C.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Is the final reading of the ordinance, Chapter 5, Article 10, Livestock and Chickens. So the only input that I got was from Trustee King, and I passed that along to all the trustees. I go back to, originally, we started working on this because when we were issuing notices of violation and tickets, we'd go to court, and they would have an argument as to what the definition is of what is livestock. So whatever this board does, whether they want to pass this amendment, whether they want to amend the amendment, whether they want to say no chickens, whatever, we need guidance in the building department for code enforcement on how to proceed, because we got a lot of chickens. So, if somebody would like to make a motion on what they want to do.
I would like to make a motion to amend this, because we have no way to know who has chickens. I would like to see it amended to make it a permit. You have to come in and get a permit, you pay for that, we inspect it. That way we know, for the most part, who has them. We can inspect them that way. To pass the blank ordinance, you still don't know who has the chickens. You still have no means to enforce. I mean, you'd have a means to enforce, but you don't have a means to actually know who has it, to actually show up and inspect this property.
And you also wanted to add your other amendments,
I would like
1
to move
acre?
it- I'd like to move it to 1.5 acres or 2 acres.
Anyhow.
I
And
don't think the township has a lot of 3-acre parcels. I mean, I'm good with 2 acres. That's a lot, that's a
I'm
lot
not,
for
I think
chickens.
it's too, they're too loud and
So
it's
he's
too.
making a motion here. And was it just a fence and not the coop? Is that what you said in
No,
your?
the fence, the coop,
Okay.
contained within the perimeter of your property. I'd like to see it at 2 acres, but I'd like to see us require a permit where you have to come in and actually pay for a permit and we inspect it, because otherwise, can't hear.
No, I can hear, I just don't agree.
Is that your motion?
2 acres.
Is there a second to that motion, to amend the amendment? Need a second in order to vote on it. And when it doesn't get a second, I learned this myself, it dies.
Yep.
Now we're back to square one. Does someone want to make another motion?
I'd like
as
to make a motion that we do not have chickens in the township.
Is there a second to the motion?
Or
Support. Any further discussion? I know we have a lot of residents who are very pleased to be able to have their own chicken and grow their own eggs, but this could become a nightmare in trying to enforce. So we have a motion and a second, and it will amend the current ordinance to say no chickens allowed. Is that, do I have it correct, right?
Right.
Any further discussion?
I have a couple other things
Sure.
though, because, it lists in here like, I mean, we can't keep track of how many dogs are loose in the township. We have blight to take care of. There are people that have chickens that already let them do whatever they want. And they say it's okay. And I don't know who's gonna go out and say, did you kill a chicken today?
Because it says you can't slaughter
But you
chickens.
can't slaughter them, but
That's
they
what the mo-
do, and it's the point that in the 1 acre, 2 acre, I'm sorry, until we get a grip on some other stuff, chickens just,
Any further discussion?
just my
Go ahead.
thought.
Okay, so Now, do you need me to rewrite the definition in the current ordinance and bring that back for the first reading and second reading, right? Is that what we're doing?
I will check. I'm meeting with Attorney Gildner on Wednesday. I will check, but we got a motion on the floor with the second, no
Okay.
chickens, and we're gonna vote on that.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna do a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, roll call please on amending the amendment to say no chickens allowed in Flint Township.
Trustee Campbell.
Yes.
Treasurer Clee.
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Trustee King.
No.
Trustee Fabdahl.
Yes.
And Trustee Burt.
Yes.
Wait a second.
Greg said no. He's the only somebody who said no.
You said no?
Yes.
Carol, did you vote yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Did you vote yes or no? So it passed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Only somebody said no was Greg.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so, I'll get with the attorney and make sure we do the right thing, whether it's, whether or not it needs to come back to the board for a first and second reading. So we move on to the calendar. Madam Clerk?
Okay. So we have the calendar for year 2024. If I can find it. Tom, you got my calendar?
I do not have, I have my written one. There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
For Flint Township Board of Trustees, if the trustees, I think you guys had a chance to look at it and review it and see if we needed to add or change anything.
The only thing I would like to see changed, I know we did it for this year, we took off the week of July 4th. If we could take that off for July 1 then.
I had a thought in that, and that was if, because of the holiday fits right there, why don't we move our meeting to the 8th? Then we're not impacting anybody's 4th of July here or there. Move it, jump it one day, and I was looking at my calendar, and that would put it on I got it, sorry. The 8th is a Monday, and we could even do 2 meetings that month. We could go 8 and 22 if we wanted to, or just do 1
For July.
for July.
We did one this last year.
Didn't we?
We did one, that's
One?
why I was suggesting it.
Okay. 8th takes us away from the holiday weekend, like you said, or week, like you said.
Yeah.
So we do it away with the
Leave it at the 15th.
So,
The other I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Nope.
No.
I was just to say, Manya, you had brought this to the asterisk that we see in there, 5-6, is a potential election day, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So those of you looking at the calendar, reason 5-6 is highlighted, and 9/23 the same way? No. Oh, yeah, subject to election if called. That's right. So the stars are the election.
Any other changes or concerns?
So a couple of people brought to my attention about, instead of going to the following Monday, like January 1st is a Monday, so here it's scheduled to be the following Monday. Why aren't we having it on the 2nd, the next day, Tuesday, rather than the following week? Whatever the board wants to do, I'm just bringing up the question, why not have it the next day when we're able to? I think the Little Red Book discusses that. We brought that up before, Tom.
Yep, but we can also make that decision to move it if we were to. I think we talked about the first and the second being the fact that it was, again, the day after the holiday, the day after New Year's, whatever that was. That's why I think we looked at moving it down and down, jumping 2 days. The 15th wouldn't work because it's ML King Day, I think, and we discussed moving that to the 22nd as it was, and that's why it's on the calendar the way it is. And the 8th makes it smooth if that's good with everybody. I see no issues with that.
Okay, well, I'm just bringing it up.
Yep, thank you.
To move it to the January 8th and 22nd?
Yeah, the way it is here.
So that would be the second Monday and the fourth Monday rather than the first and third. I think that falls, there's another time that happens here too, right?
Yes,
I don't have it.
Is it September?
I think you're right. Hang on. Yes,
Yeah,
September does
September
the
is
same thing because
The
of-
second and the fourth Monday rather than the first and third Monday.
well, the calendar will be printed and published, and you folks, everybody in the audience and those that would want to come would be made well aware of it ahead of time that change would be made. Plus, this is available will be on the website.
Alrighty, a motion is in order to approve the calendar.
We'll take off July 1st.
You have that right?
Change it to the 8th.
The 8th.
Take it off, the July.
So one
Just like
meeting
we
in
did
July?
this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like we did this
The first
year.
would be
Gone.
null and void.
Right.
The 8th is our board meeting.
No, we
It says
go
the
to
15th.
15th. We just have one,
Oh, I thought we were moving it to
No,
the
we-
8th. To-
just
to-
like we did this year.
15th. And you
Have
got two
one in
Mondays in a
July.
row.
Yeah, the 15th, I thought we were, okay. I thought we moved it to the 8th and not have it on the 15th, but okay, whatever. That's what I thought we just talked about. Sorry, I wrote the wrong thing.
Yeah, so the July meeting is what day? The 15th, just making sure.
Yeah.
All righty. I need a motion to move forward to approve the calendar, and the change on here is going to be take off this July 1st meeting, and we'll have one meeting in July on the 15th. Someone want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it, removing the July 1st
Is there-
meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll
Or-
second. Carol was fine.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving this calendar for 2024, with the exception of only having one meeting in July, which would be the 15th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Me.
Okay. E was taken off the agenda, and so our next meeting, we're done with new business. Our next meeting is December 20th, here at 6 PM, and if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.